I think this is the I suppose the insanity of the Zionists as well as the US. One of the things that they are desperate for Iran to do is to become dependent on them for technology, for energy, and they are scared and against Iran's advancement in technology. This is because they feel that they have a monopoly on technology. This is down to the fact that the West don't really understand history. If they understood history, look at Ibn Sina, who was the father of medicine, modern medicine. Where was he from? He wasn't from America. America was nothing then. Europe was nothing. Europe was in the Dark Ages. This is someone who came from Iran. Iran has a long history of technological resilience, technological advancement, just as a country. Leave the Islamic side for one moment. And they are terrified that if Iran continues this progress, then Iran will become ahead of them. Even with all the sanctions, they know this. So what they want to do, the underlying, and Pompeo has said this many times, Netanyahu has said this, and it's echoed when they say that we don't mind the Iranian people, we just have a problem with the government, or they call it regime. They don't want a system in Iran, this system of Wilayat al-Faqih, this system of Islamic revolution, because this system ensures and guarantees not just Iran's independence, but the independence of everyone who wants this line. And real independence, as in, they can talk to each other, they can collaborate, like, for example, Syria, Iraq, Iran, they collaborate, they work together, they help each other. They will move in this negative direction and they will try and force Iran to not be independent because they're scared that this independence drive, this reliance on yourself, this is something which is it's catchy, it's contagious. You now have, think about this, this is something which always amazes me. You have Ansarullah and the Houthi in Yemen. These are people that are they're occupied, they're under siege, they have problem. You even have our brothers in Gaza. They're all occupied, they're in difficulty, right? But they are not weak. They still fight back. And even with the greatest armies that the Zionists have and the Arab Zionists of so-called Saudi Arabia have, they've been unable to defeat them. They've hurt them, that's different, but they haven't been able to defeat them. So this is why the West wants Iran to bend the knee, to abandon its idea of independence, reliance on God, reliance on themselves, because they know that this ideology, this system, this nizam, is something which will end this terrorist regime of the West, this terrorist colonial oppression that the West has put on the rest of the world. And the West is actually a very small component of the world. It's a tiny proportion. If you look at the rest of the world, it's much bigger. And Iran has many, many more friends than it has enemies. Iran is friends with China. China is a good friend of Iran. Russia is a good friend of Iran. The South African countries are a good friend of Iran. South American countries, look at Venezuela. Iran went to Venezuela's aid when Venezuela was stuck. Iran is so many thousands of miles away from Venezuela, but it said, no, you are my friend, I will help you. A time will come when Venezuela will come and help us, help Iran. This is what brotherhood is like, the brotherhood of humanity. And this is what the enemy don't want.